So once we become aware of that being a framework of like, this is what humans eat, right? Then it becomes your own intuitive journey of like, okay, what from each and what role does each of those foods play in your diet, you know, every day, every week, which changes. So I want to talk about plants and how I went from, you know, seeing that as, oh, I can only eat plants, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan to save the world, transcending that to actually the role that plants actually play. So yes, they are food, but they're also primarily medicine. And they are the most primary form of medicine that humans have had throughout time, right? Herbal medicine is folk medicine. It's the people's medicine. Every single culture around the world has this relationship with plants. And in fact, a friend of mine, he defines herbalism as nothing more than the institutionalization of wild food intuition. Yeah, and that's not good nor bad. It's just different. It's just what we humans do. And you can look at a Chinese system or an Ayurvedic system, which were very good, very detailed in kind of mapping it out. They've got a long history, with the Chinese, with writing, and they wrote it down, and they classified, and they categorized. And this was over hundreds, thousands of years that we have the incredibleness of that system. What is also just incredible, but maybe not quite as detailed in its written form, is, you know, the indigenous that lived here on this land, right? What was their relationship with the plants? How did they know what to eat? They didn't have grocery stores, didn't have pharmacies, right? The land provided. And that was the same for every indigenous culture. Indigenous means to be of a place, to really be of the land, and to work with it, and engage with it, and interact with it, and be nourished by it, and give thanks to it. So we're going to look at this path of herbalism, and within that, I mean, it's huge, right? So as you think about, as I invite you to be your own herbalist, to come back to this more ancient, more intuitive, nourishing path of self-care, of medicine, not to replace what we have in terms of modern medicine, right? There's a time and a place for both, right? Prevention, acute care, you know, whatever it is, just to have more in your toolkit. I mean, that's a very kind of masculine analogy. Your purse, literally, your witch's cupboards. Yeah, we can all be that again for ourselves and for our children. And you know, when I first started in nutrition, I'd kind of chosen my path. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a nutritionist, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to study this, and I had friends. I mentioned his name already, Yarrow Willard. He's a second-generation herbalist. His father is Dr. Terry Willard. He started the Wild Rose College of Natural Healing. He ran a clinic here for a while, that kind of a thing. And so he's one of my friends growing up, and I saw him take the path of herbalism. You know, like I was going to school for nutrition. He was going to school for herbs. And to be honest, I felt very intimidated about herbs. I did not grow up in this way. I mean, again, when I first shifted my diet, the extent of my culinary abilities, where I knew how to make Pop-Tarts, grilled cheese, and microwave pizza. That's where I started from, and that's where most of us start from, right? If you just kind of take on the societal norm of the day, but how well has that served us? It really hasn't, actually, and we can see successively, generationally, the problems that that's beginning to bring up. So I took it upon myself, okay, you know, I'm an adult, I'm going to learn how to feed myself, and yeah, it took me a long time. So that's kind of what I do. Why I do what I do is I want to like help others on that path be a little bit, you know, quicker, faster, clearer, getting to that space of intuitive eating and feeling really good about your body and the food that you eat, whatever it is. But herbs, it was like, oh man, like that's a whole other degree, that's a whole other path. And then a couple years down the road, a mentor of mine, Blaine Andrusik, he says, Malcolm, he says, you can be a herbalist. You can be your own herbalist. He's like, think about it, and this is a man that had been practicing herbal medicine for several decades. He says, think about it. I'm a herbal practitioner. I'm just practicing. You can